Good evening, hello and welcome. You're with the news today, your primetime destination. News, newsmakers, talking points, news without the noise. We'll get you all the big stories tonight. The big stories coming from the Supreme Court. Green crackers will be allowed on Diwali. Will the pollution fight gains now go up in smoke? Also, the AFPAC war is escalating. What does it mean for India? Afghanistan's Taliban versus Pakistan's army state. Okay, let's go first to the story that's breaking, and it's coming on the Bihar Maha mess, as we are calling it, with 48 hours to go for the nomination deadline to expire. The opposition Mahagathbandhan has finally inched towards a seat-sharing deal. Bihar Congress leaders are back in Patna from Delhi, and a final meeting is to take place tonight between the Congress and Tejasvi Yadav. The RJD Congress talks are to focus on 5 to 6 seats. The Congress finally likely to get 61 to 63 seats. I want a quick update from Maushmi Singh, who joins us. Maushmi, it's taken a very long time for the Congress and the RJD to come to an agreement. That agreement is more and more likely. Does it mean that the Congress is now slowly ceding space and accepting that the RJD is the dominant partner? Will they also announce Tejasvi as their leader?
Really, Rajdeep, this was a tussle about, getting more elbow room and not getting the leftovers as far as the Congress is concerned. And with the VIP, now joining the bandwagon, the dynamics have changed, because the Congress had put in a demand of 65 seats, and that was not agreeable to Tejasvi Yadav. And that's why the past 48 hours we saw an icing of the entire talks. But we are told that the Bihar Congress leaders will be meeting Tejasvi Yadav shortly. 5 to 6 seats which are in contention. Either sides are ready to give away one or two. And now the Congress is ready to settle for a score of 61 to 63. Ideally, it would like to have 63 as its total tally, but it would perhaps agree with 61. So what eventually we'll see is that late night today, there will be a settlement of sorts after this mega tussle that we saw in the past few days.
Okay, it appears that finally there will be, we will have two big alliances in Bihar. The Maha mess is slowly being settled. Maushmi Singh, thanks very much for joining us. I want to turn to my top focus tonight. The Supreme Court today decided to allow green crackers in the Delhi NCR region during the Diwali days. From time slots to QR codes, many restrictions have been placed. But environmental activists are questioning, will all this negate the gains made so far in fighting pollution? Can you really enforce a rule which says green crackers will be allowed at specific times? What are the public health implications? All those questions in a moment. But first, take a look at our top story on the Supreme Court now stepping in on the cracker ban.
This Diwali, Delhi will see fireworks without breaking any ban. The Supreme Court has given a green signal, quite literally, by allowing green crackers in the capital for a limited window. From October 18th to 20th, sales will be allowed. Fireworks can only happen on October 19th and 20th, and that too from 6 to 7 a.m. and 8 to 10 p.m. The court has made it clear, no crackers from outside. Only QR-coded green crackers approved by the National Environmental Engineering Research Institute, or NEERI. Police and patrol teams will be out ensuring these rules aren't just on paper but on the ground.
Crackers is also only permitted on 19th and 20th, that is Choti Diwali and Diwali, between the hours of 6 to 7 a.m. and then between 8 to 10 p.m. That means just for 3 hours on Choti Diwali and Diwali, green crackers can be burst in Delhi. In fact, the Supreme Court noting that the complete ban on firecrackers has been blatantly violated by the citizens of Delhi NCR over the last few years.
Delhi Chief Minister Rekha Gupta welcomed the move, saying it strikes a rare balance between festive emotion and environmental responsibility. The Delhi government might even consider cloud seeding to help improve post-Diwali air quality.
मैं सभी दिल्ली वासियों को बहुत बहुत बधाई देता हूं इस बात के लिए कि आपने दिल्ली में अच्छी सरकार चुनी और ये हमारी सरकार के प्रयास सफल हुए। हमारी मुख्यमंत्री जी ने कहा था कि इस बार दिल्ली को बिना पटाखों के दिवाली नहीं मनाने देंगे। सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने भी हमारे प्रयासों को सराहा है और दिल्ली में जो सरकार द्वारा प्रदूषण को ख़त्म करने के लिए कदम उठाए हैं, बहुत ही अच्छा फैसला दिल्ली के लोगों के लिए आया है।
जी, मैं धन्यवाद करता हूं मानयोग सुप्रीम कोर्ट का, जो उन्होंने 8 साल बाद इस फैसले को बदला है। दिल्ली के अंदर अब शाम 6 बजे से लेकर रात के 10 बजे तक आप पटाखे चला पाएंगे और इन पटाखों को ग्रीन पटाखे होंगे, इसकी चिंता हम करेंगे। हम अभी तुरंत बैठक बुला रहे हैं। बैठक बुलाकर ये सुनिश्चित करेंगे जो मानयोग सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने कहा है उस फैसले को लागू करें।
The mood today stands in contrast to 2020, when the NGT banned all crackers amid choking air. The Supreme Court extended that ban last year, calling short-term measures ineffective and demanded scientific backing for any exemptions. But what are green crackers? Green crackers are cleaner, smarter fireworks made with less barium and aluminium and designed to cut smoke and dust. The National Environmental Engineering Research Institute says they could cut pollution by up to 35%. They are less harmful but not harmless. The Supreme Court has asked the Central Pollution Control Board and the State Pollution Control Board to monitor air quality index in the National Capital Region from October 14th to 25th and file a report to the court. With Anisha Mathur in New Delhi, Bureau Report, India Today.
And joining me now is my first guest. Maninjar Singh Sirsa is the Delhi Minister in charge of Environment. Appreciate your joining us, Mr. Sirsa. I want to ask you, Sirsa ji, straight away. ये जो Supreme Court order है, it has lifted the ban on crackers. Cracker पे ban उठाया है. Green crackers can be allowed. Is it not going to only worsen pollution levels in national capital? Already the pollution levels are bad. अब इसके बाद तो और भी खराब हो गए in the next week.
नहीं, देखिए, दिल्ली के अंदर इसका पोल्यूशन का बहुत बड़ा कोई इम्पैक्ट नहीं होगा। उसका एक बड़ा रीज़न है, मैं आपको जो अगर आप समझना चाहें तो, दिल्ली के अंदर पटाखे जब से बैन हुए हैं तब से और ज़्यादा पटाखे चल रहे हैं। दिल्ली में कोई दिवाली ऐसी नहीं निकली जिस दिन पटाखे ना चले हों। वो क्यों हो रहा है? क्योंकि लोगों को लगता है कि हमारे धर्म के ऊपर थोपा जा रहा है। बाकी पूरी दुनिया अगर मना रही है, बाकी धर्मों पर अगर किसी तरीके की रोक टोक नहीं है तो हमारे ऊपर ही क्यों रोक टोक है? इसका एक इल इफेक्ट हुआ मुझे लगता है। लेकिन अब जो माननीय सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने किया है, ये 3 दिन तक इसके ऊपर बहस चली है और सभी पक्ष को समझते हुए माननीय सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने फैसला दिया है। इससे ग्रीन क्रैकर्स जो हैं वो कम पोल्यूटिंग भी हैं और दिल्ली के अंदर एक टाइम सीमा तय कर दी। अब लोगों को कम से कम कंप्लायंस करने के लिए, मानने के लिए हम भी जोर देके कह सकते हैं कि आपको 2 घंटे चलाने के लिए मिले हैं। 18 तारीख को चलाइए, 19 को चलाइए, 20 को चलाइए और शाम को 8 बजे से 10 बजे तक चला लीजिए। लेकिन लोग भी अब समझेंगे और अगर वो भी जानेंगे, अगर इस चीज, पूरी बात सुनिए, मेरे को 2 सेकंड और दे। हाँ जी।
बट सिरसा जी, ये सब कहने के लिए बहुत अच्छा है कि ग्रीन क्रैकर्स आर लेस पोल्यूटिंग. हाउ विल यू एक्चुअली एनफोर्स दिस ऑर्डर? प्लीज टेल अस. Are enforcement agencies, policemen equipped to go from market to market, mohalla to mohalla to find out if these are green crackers or not green crackers, whether the crackers are being burst in a particular timeline? I mean, how is this going to be enforced, Sirsa ji? ये कैसे enforce होगा?
देखिए, जब हमारे पास बैन करने के लिए मशीनरी है तो वही मशीनरी इसको जो है चेक करने के लिए भी, ऐसा नहीं है कि मशीनरी कमी है। दिल्ली पुलिस है, दिल्ली सरकार है, डीएम है। डीएम इंश्योर करेंगे कि जो दुकानें पे माल बिकने लगा है उन पे ग्रीन क्रैकर हो, ये हम इंश्योर करेंगे। डीपीसीसी उसकी मॉनिटरिंग करेगा, सीपीसी भी पोल्यूशन की मॉनिटरिंग करेगा, डीएम्स जो है इंश्योर करेंगे, दिल्ली पुलिस, ऐसा नहीं है, सब कुछ करेंगे। जब दिल्ली की सरकार ने ये माननीय सुप्रीम कोर्ट से कहा कि हम ग्रीन क्रैकर चाहते हैं तो हमने यह भी जिम्मेवारी ली है कि हम इसकी प्रॉपर इन्फोर्समेंट होगी और कंप्लायंस ऑर्डर की होगी। आपको ये भी मानना चाहिए। जी जी
जी
बोलिए, आप कुछ कहना। नहीं, मेरा ये कहना है
जी,
मेरा ये कहना है कि इसको कंप्लायंस को पूरा करना 3 स्टेटों की जिम्मेवारी है और तीनों स्टेटें पूरे जोर से करेंगे और दिल्ली की सरकार भी आज ही से हमने बैठकें शुरू कर दी हैं। अभी पहली बैठक सुबह हो गई है, अभी दूसरी है, फिर तीसरी है, सभी पटाखा एसोसिएशन वाले भी बुला रखे हैं। हम इंश्योर करेंगे कि इसकी कंप्लायंस हो।
you are using the word compliance. आपको विश्वास है that people will comply with this order? Are you saying because rather than a complete cracker ban, and then also we saw, despite that complete cracker ban, people were happily bursting crackers. Now you want this gradual lifting of the ban by the Supreme Court. क्या आपको विश्वास है कि लोग comply करेंगे?
Something is better than nothing. Something is better than nothing. When entire city was blasting for crackers, in spite of all Supreme Court orders, I believe that this is the better option for that reason.
You seriously want to believe, Mr. Sirsa, want me to believe that people will observe the Supreme Court guidelines and that sentiments of those who want to celebrate should be respected? Are you saying this is about sentiment? लोगों की भावनाओं से जुड़ा हुआ है, इसलिए ये आपको लगता है कोर्ट ऑर्डर सही है?
Definitely, definitely. We will be in a better coordination. At least we can, while speaking to somebody, आप बताएं ना, मैंने आपको आके रोका, आपके बच्चों और परिवार को आके रोका, पटाखे नहीं चलाएंगे। वो मुझे आगे से सवाल पूछते हैं, यार क्या धर्म मेरे धर्म के ये लागू होता है? जब बाकी धर्मों के लोगों के प्रोग्राम मनाए जाते तो उसमें पोल्यूशन नहीं होता, उनको क्यों नहीं बैन किया जाता? तो मेरे पास क्या जवाब था? अब मैं उसको जवाब दे सकता हूं कि सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने आपकी भावनाओं को भी कदर की है, 2 घंटे आपको भी अलाउ किया है। तो सभी धर्मों का सम्मान करना चाहिए। जब एक धर्म को अलग से करके उसके ऊपर सारी बंदितें थोपी जाती हैं तो फिर वो रिएक्शन होता है, जो रिएक्शन हम पिछले कई सालों से देख रहे हैं। इसलिए बहुत पवित्र त्योहार है दिवाली। मेजॉरिटी रिलीजन का मेजॉरिटी रिलीजन का एक बड़ा त्योहार है दिवाली, और दीपावली पूरे देश और नहीं पूरी दुनिया में मनाई जाती है और पटाखे चलाए जाते हैं। तो केवल एक स्टेट को, एक सिटी को, दिल्ली को अलग से रख की जाए, मुझे लगता है बड़ा बेइंसाफी थी। और मैं मानता हूं कि सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने इंसाफ किया है, दिल्ली वाले को लोगों के साथ और एनसीआर के ऊपर इंसाफ किया है।
सर, यू आर सेइंग कि इंसाफ किया हुआ है, जस्टिस हैज बीन डन, but don't you think this will affect the health of the people? That's the central question. आप कह रहे हैं कि that this is about religious sentiments. What about the health of the people, which will be affected when pollution levels rise?
जी, आपने बहुत अच्छी बात कही कि हेल्थ का सवाल है। क्या दिल्ली के अंदर हम कल को ये तय कर दें कि दिल्ली की सारी लेबोरेटरीज बंद कर दो, दिल्ली में स्कूल बच्चे नहीं जाएंगे क्योंकि वहां पे तो व्हीकल्स के अंदर जाना पड़ता है, हमें हेल्थ चाहिए, हमें बच्चों की पढ़ाई नहीं चाहिए? ऐसा संभव नहीं होता। सभी चीजों की जरूरत होती है। आप जब मैंने आपको जो पहले भी कहा, एक धर्म के ऊपर अगर आप इस तरह से थोपने की कोशिश करेंगे तो उसका इल इफेक्ट होता है, जो कि हमने हर साल देखा है। या तो आप उसका सोल्यूशन निकाल लेते, इतने सालों में लोगों को पटाखे चलाने से रोक लेते, और मानिए सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने बेटर ऑप्शन दिया है। तो मुझे लगता है कि जो एनवायरमेंटलिस्ट है उनको भी यह समझना चाहिए कि आप केवल एक ही धर्म के पीछे पड़कर इस तरह से करेंगे, इसका नुकसान होता है। सभी धर्म, अब ईद आती है तो हमारे मुस्लिम भाई, उनका एक पर्व है, एक दिन के लिए वो बकरे भी काटते हैं, उनकी भी भावना है, उनकी भावनाओं की कदर करते हैं दिल्ली के लोग। इतना खून की नदियां बहती हैं लेकिन उसका भी सम्मान किया जाता है, क्योंकि उनकी भी धार्मिक भावना। आप ऐसा नहीं कर सकते कि उनकी धार्मिक भावनाओं की कदर ना समझें। इसी तरह बाकी धर्मों की भावनाएं भी हैं, तो सभी धर्म की भावनाओं का हमें कदर करना चाहिए। तभी एक जो है यूनिफॉर्मिटी बनती है, तभी गुलदस्ता बनता है, और यही भारत की खूबी है। इस भारत की खूबी को बरकरार रखना चाहिए हमें।
Let's leave it there. Maninder Singh Sirsa, Delhi's Environment Minister, telling me that a partial ban of the kind that the Supreme Court has brought is better than a total ban. People's religious sentiments have been respected. Appreciate you joining us. Let's turn from there to the big questions. Can green crackers really check pollution? Will the pollution fight gains now go up in smoke? Has the Supreme Court chosen religious sentiments over public health? Vikram Singh, former DGP UP, joins me. Ronak Sutaria is founder and CEO, Respirer Living Sciences, and Ashwini Dubey is an advocate Supreme Court. Appreciate all of you joining us on the show there. Ronak Sutaria, to you first. You might have heard the minister saying that people's sentiments have to be respected. Even when there was a total ban, people were bursting crackers. Now they will be more responsible because at least the court has respected their sentiments. How do you respond to this argument of religious sentiments being respected when a partial lift of the ban has been made?
Yeah, hi Rajdeep. Thanks for the session. And actually, it's a unfortunate verdict. I think I honestly feel, we've been tracking it since morning, when this came out. And I think the term green crackers is actually quite misleading. It is being used regularly to describe this. And as you yourself, you all showed right now that, the 30% reduction that is being talked about is essentially the barium nitrate, the arsenic, and the lead, which is being eliminated from these so-called green crackers. And actually, I don't want to use the term green crackers, but essentially just the crackers, which will have, but,
No,
Diwali
are you
time.
saying there's nothing that, just a minute, are you, for our viewers to understand, are you saying there's nothing like a green cracker, that any cracker is polluting?
I mean, essentially the crackers which have been certified for sale, they are still going to have about 125 to 130 decibels of sound, as compared to the 160 decibels which the regular crackers provide. Normal hearing is at about 40 decibels. 40 to 50 decibels, it starts becoming an issue. So the noise is one part of it. The air quality, Delhi actually is going to hit about 1,000 AQI. Currently just this morning, I mean, right now it is at 250 AQI, the city. In about 3 days, it's going to hit 1,000 AQI. Now a 30% reduction in 1,000 AQI is 700 levels. Is that what we really want to target after 5 years of Supreme Court debates? If we are saying that bringing them down by 300 AQI is the best we can do for our children, I think it's an unfortunate decision. Not getting into the sentiments of it, I think I heard the advocates, debate. Advocate Love Virani, who basically represented the Firecracker Traders Association, and the entire debate was made around the livelihood of the firecracker industry. I'm given to believe there are about 8 lakh to 10 lakh people who are employed in the Shivakasi region. Cumulatively, about 15 lakh people's livelihood is at stake, is what this debate was. At least a good part of this debate was around the livelihood of 15
Right.
lakh people. Now, 15 lakh people's livelihood, a 4-day ban, I don't know. Really the debate is about, can we replace the manufacturing industry, provide livelihood? Because bursting of crackers for 3 days, in my understanding, the folks who are suffering, the vulnerable population, those who have asthma, the children who are less than 5, it is going to be extremely severe. And we have to stop using the term green crackers because it's
So
extremely misleading.
you're saying look at it purely from a public health perspective. That should have been the focus of what the Supreme Court should have said. I want to at this moment turn to the lawyer on the panel. Ashwini Dubey, you're an advocate, Supreme Court. I'm told you're a supporter of the idea that people should be allowed to celebrate Diwali with crackers. Here you're hearing an environmental science activist saying it's very clear public health should be above religious sentiments. How do you respond?
Now, see, the Supreme Court has not only considered the religious aspect. Mr. Rajdeep Sardesai, the NEERI exercise was undertaken, and there was a classification between the crackers, one green cracker, and that was initiated in 2018. So NEERI, this is the one of the topmost institution of this country, which has developed compositions of green crackers that can particulate emissions by a minimum of 30% by ranking up to 80% while maintaining brightness, safety, and shelf life. Number two, it is not only the firecrackers which are emitting pollution or responsible for Delhi's air pollution. If you've seen past, Supreme Court is hearing this matter since 2021, and even 2019 when the Supreme Court was hearing this matter, one committee was formulated with the chief secretaries, with the pollution control board activists, and also certain other persons of Rajasthan, Haryana, Delhi, and Uttar Pradesh. They were asked for a composite study to submit to the court. Now the Supreme Court, there are factors which are responsible for the pollution, was the stubble bugging, reduced wind speed, effect of the winds, and dip in temperature, lowers in inversion height, vehicular pollution, and construction activities. It is not only the firecracker which was responsible for Delhi's air pollution. Now, two aspects. One, the religious aspect, another is the scientific aspect. So eco-friendly, the firecrackers allowed to be burst for two hours by the Supreme Court was undertaken, and for that the Supreme Court has asked clearly to the executive to ensure that each and every paragraph and the directions given by the Supreme Court has to be complied in true letter and spirit. You have just heard the Environment Minister of Delhi. He has said that he will undertake. And if anybody violates it, it's the responsibility of the executive. If somebody is
How
beyond,
you see, that is the question. You're saying enforce. It is the duty of the executive to enforce it. I'll come back to you, Ashwini ji, in a moment. But I want to ask Vikram Singh that because you have raised the issue of enforcing. You claim that the Supreme Court has made it clear that the executive can enforce this limited ban on crackers and therefore allow crackers at certain time zones, green crackers as you're calling them. Vikram Singh, is it possible in a city of the size of the Delhi NCR region, more than 2 crore people spread right across the Delhi NCR, you're telling me that the policeman can go mohalla to mohalla, market to market to find out whether there are green crackers or not? You're smiling.
Rajdeep,
That
sir,
tells it all.
Rajdeep ji and gentlemen, good evening. Don't underestimate the prowess and the capabilities of the police. Where there is a will, there is a way. The police don't have to move from mohalla to mohalla. I mean, they have an intelligence system. They would know where the crackers are hoarded, stored,
Sir,
and
the
being
police
used.
could not enforce the total ban all these years. You are telling me they will enforce a partial ban? When there was a total ban of the Supreme Court outside my house, late till the night, I would hear crackers.
Rajdeep ji, today we have the advantage of the drone technology, AI, and vision devices. Things have changed drastically in the last 12 months. Today, I would feel that the police are equal to the task. But let me tell you, be very honest, with all the futuristic technologies, it is a very uphill task, a Herculean task. And I think miles to go before the police can sleep. And to an honest answer, I would say it is a Herculean task. And to say there will be a cent% ban on the imported crackers and the smuggled crackers, that would be living in a fool's paradise. But yes, police can do a preventive action. They can ensure that there is faithful compliance of the Honorable Supreme Court's orders. But on the safer side, I would say perhaps the enforcement would be something around 60% only, 40%. It's
Chalo,
going
at
to be
least
a
that
free for
much you
all.
are admitting that the enforcement will be 60%. But, I want to just for once and for all, let's look at this religious argument because that was one of the arguments that Delhi government certainly made both in its election campaign and even now, कि लोगों की भावनाओं को, the emotions of people have been satisfied with this. Ashwini Dubai, you want to intervene on that first? Do you believe that religious sentiment should have a role in courts on matters like this?
sir, sir, it's not only the religious factor. You see the 21 pages judgments of Honorable Supreme Court, which says that there are multiple factors which had been looked into by the Supreme Court. Supreme Court referred the COVID at the time of COVID era, saying that at that point of time there was drop in AQI emission. There's a particulate of PM 2.5 and PM 210, which was in the air, not because of the air, this firecrackers. This and number one. Number two, the NEERI we cannot doubt upon. The study and research of NEERI we cannot research, scientific studies we cannot doubt. Number three, if there are certain guidelines given by the Supreme Court, whosoever violate, either you or sir, you, either me or you, whosoever violates will be subject to the law of the land. And sale of green crackers, as per the formulations and the guidelines given by the Supreme Court, if violated, it is the complete duty of the executive to look into. And
Okay,
executive,
you made that point. You made
will
that
not
point.
leave.
Okay,
Yes.
you're saying sentiments is only one aspect. Ronak Sutaria, one of the points that Ashwini ji makes is important, that we are focusing almost entirely as if crackers are responsible for Delhi's pollution. The crackers have not even started. Already AQI levels in Delhi have worsened significantly in the last 48 to 72 hours. There's the construction issue. There are transport issues. There is stubble burning. It's not just crackers. So crackers became the soft target, is what many proponents who wanted crackers are saying. Why deny people enjoyment, which is part of their festivities, for just a couple of days, is the argument they make. Why not focus on a more comprehensive plan to tackle pollution? Why make crackers the soft target? A quick response.
Rajdeep, I think the toxicity, I mean, while it is still a green crackers, the toxicity that comes from firecrackers is significant. I think it cannot be undermined. While, arsenic and lead, thankfully are eliminated with this kind of crackers. But I would not agree that, I believe that crackers, I mean, I'm not going to get into the sentiment part, the cultural sentiment part of it, but crackers, I don't believe are the best way to celebrate a festival of lights. And even if they wanted to do it, I think instead of the time restrictions, there should have been a space restriction. There should have been clearly demarcated spaces, the way any Western city does, is that there are demarcated spaces to burst crackers. And a city like Delhi, NCR could have absolutely, identified areas where crackers can be burst, and where
Right.
then the police systems would have been more effective. But this citywide access to, and I again don't want to call them green crackers, but citywide access to lower emissions crackers, or 70% emitting polluting crackers, is a better term, because there is still 70% pollution that
Right.
is going to come, is an unfortunate decision.
You're saying it's an unfair. I'll give a final word to my friend Vikram Singh. Vikram Singh, do you believe that I ask you one last time, do you really believe the police is equipped to do this? Or will this only lead to even more corruption? Someone will take money from these cracker wallas. It's an easy way, soft corruption as well.
To a
Too
professional
much of
question, a professional
discretionary
answer.
powers in the hands of the executive is a recipe for corruption.
Rajdeep, sir, to a professional question, a professional answer. The police are always equal to the task, and 100% compliance will be enforced. Now, a practical answer
You have
would
moved
be
from 60,
there's
you have moved from 60% to
now.
100%.
I hadn't completed. There's many a slip twixt the cup and the lip. I said the professional answer. The practical answer would be they will do their best, and I would be very happy if they're able to execute 60% of the task assigned to them. Again, the
Okay.
practical hiccups and the practical solutions are very different and poles apart.
Okay, I'm going to leave it there. These are issues of urgent public health. There are also issues of cultural and religious sentiments. I would have expected public health to be kept above all else, but who is to argue when the Supreme Court gives an order of the kind it is? We hope at least people will comply with the order. That, at the very least, is what citizens should do. I appreciate my guest joining me on the show tonight. I want to turn to the big political story, the big international story today, and it's coming from the neighborhood where clashes have erupted once again today between Pakistan and Afghanistan. Both countries targeting each other's border posts on Wednesday, claiming that they have scored major military gains. Many people have died in the clashes. A ceasefire is reportedly now being considered, but clearly the Afghan-Pakistan war could have implications for India. So how should we see Pakistan and Afghanistan, or Taliban-controlled Afghanistan, as frenemies or as bitter adversaries? And what does, importantly, this Af-Pak war mean for India? Joining me now is Vivek Katju, former envoy to Afghanistan. Appreciate your joining us, Mr. Katju. How do you read what's happening there in the border areas between Afghanistan and Pakistan? Is this a clash that could erupt into a larger war, or do you believe this is a fallout of the growing concerns that Pakistan has expressed with the with the TTP, the Taliban? That's the real reason that this war is, these clashes are taking place. Why now, and what does it mean?
Rajdeep, there's always been great bitterness and rancor between Kabul and Islamabad and Rawalpindi. This is nothing new. And this rancor erupts from time to time into armed clashes, as we have seen. The Pakistanis had hoped that because they had hosted the Taliban and they were responsible in one sense for enabling them to regain control of Afghanistan, that they will be able to influence them to exercise control over the TTP. Now we know that the Tehreek-e-Taliban in Pakistan is essentially they're a Pashtun force, and they were ironically the creation of Pakistan, the Pakistan Army, which turned, and they later turned their guns on the Pakistan Army. The TTP is a close kin with the Afghan Taliban, and therefore the hope that the Pakistanis had that they will they will restrain the TTP, if not hand them over to the Pakistan army, was always exaggerated, and that hope was simply wrong. And the Pakistanis are today reaping the fruit
So this is the
of
snakes.
that mistake.
This is the snakes in the backyard analogy that you're drawing. The words that Hillary Clinton, I think, once used for Pakistan nurturing terrorists along the Pak-Afghan border, and they've now come to bite Pakistan. But why now? Is there any particular reason you believe that this is the moment where they've decided to escalate the situation?
I think the escalation has been from Pakistan's side. The Pakistanis have been very wary of growing contacts between the Taliban and India. And I think they've been particularly unhappy, if not enraged, at Mutaqi's visit to Delhi and the reception he received here.
So hold on. You're
has,
saying, can I just get that? You're saying there's a direct link between this escalating conflict and the fact that the Afghan foreign minister was in India just a few days ago?
I think there is a link. I would not say that this is the only factor which is responsible for the eruption of the fighting at this stage, but certainly there is a link. The Pakistan army is not known for its strategic patience. It is, at the end of the day, a tactical force. If you see its history of engagement with India, the kind of mistakes it has always made shows that its thinking is tactical. And therefore, I think the good Field Marshal, Asim Munir, who of course is being applauded in the West, particularly by Trump, is coming to the end of his patience, and he wanted to show that the Pakistanis have teeth. Now, there is one thing which ensures that the Afghans cannot carry on these hostilities for any great length of time, and that is because Afghanistan is landlocked. Its access to all kinds of things that they need is essentially via Pakistan. Yes, there's Iran, there are the Central Asian republics, but the Pakistan border, or rather the Durand Line, access is very significant, either via Spin Boldak or via Torkham. Therefore, my assessment is that these hostilities will continue for some time, but they're serious. I had not expected that they will reach this level.
Can I just ask you? Can I then ask you a final question? What does it mean for India, particularly in the short term? Let's not worry about the long term, but in the immediate term, what does it mean for India? A quick answer.
I think it means that as we enhance our engagement with the Taliban, as we convert our technical mission into an embassy, which we must for our strategic reasons, we'll have to be very careful about their security. And it also means that we should not bother about this eruption of fighting, and we should continue with our strategic outreach to the Taliban, and there should be no let up there.
Okay, I'm going to leave it there, Vivek Katju, for giving us a sense of why this conflict has erupted at this moment and what it means for India. Thank you very much for joining me here on the news today. I want to turn from there to another global story that has implications for India, because renowned American of Indian origin, foreign policy scholar, defense strategist Ashley Tellis, someone who's been on this show in the past and on many Indian channels, was arrested late last night and charged with unlawfully retaining classified national defense information. Tellis, who was a Mumbaikar, studied at St. Xavier's College, was arrested following a federal investigation into his handling of restricted government material. A probe has also been done into allegations of Tellis removing classified documents and allegedly meeting Chinese officials. If convicted, Tellis who had played an important role in the Indo-US civil nuclear deal during the Bush administration, could face up to 10 years in prison, a fine of $250,000 and forfeiture of materials involved. Remember, Ashley Tellis is someone who has been widely acknowledged as being one of the faces of the Indo-US civil nuclear deal during the Bush administration, and has worked very closely with Republican administrations in particular. My colleague Geeta Mohan, our diplomatic affairs editor, joins us. How is India looking at this? We are seeing politics play out. The BJP saying Tellis had an anti-India mindset, but I was going through through some of the details. Ashley Tellis has had good relations with most Indian governments, UPA and NDA, and particularly with the Republicans. So how is this being seen by India's foreign policy establishment?
Well, Rajdeep, he was in close touch with and in conversation with, engaged with our foreign policy establishment as well every time he traveled to India. Yes, lately there were pieces that he wrote that were scathing and against India, but that had nothing to do with what has happened in Washington, D.C. What's happened in Washington, D.C. has to do with U.S. and China. It's serious, it's scathing, and it could get Ashley Tellis into a lot of trouble. And if U.S. national security stands compromised, then it'll be another matter altogether. For India, the fact that Ashley Tellis in the recent past had become highly critical of India and almost questioned the Modi administration is the reason why we see a lot of them saying he was hardly an analyst, more of a sellout. That aside, we've interacted with him for decades, for years. We've read him for years. Can't take away from the fact that he did have a lot when it comes to a lot to offer when it comes to foreign policy and how countries are moving, the geopolitical shifts. But this is personal. This has to do with a decision that he's taken, an error in judgment in most probability if proven correct, and a lot of trouble, a lot of lawyers' fees as well, Rajdeep,
Right.
should he be proven guilty.
Okay, Geeta Mohan joining us now. The China connection will be something to look at closely in that case. Appreciate you joining us. Let me turn to some breaking news that's coming in, where an FIR has now been filed in the suicide case of an assistant sub-inspector of police that has created such a stir in Haryana. The FIR filed now also against Puran Kumar's wife and 3 others. Remember, Puran Kumar is the IPS officer who had alleged caste harassment and discrimination in his suicide note. 2 officers, remember, in Haryana have committed suicide. 1 an ASI and 1 was an IPS officer. On October 14, ASI Sandeep Kumar, who was investigating corruption allegations against Puran Kumar, allegedly shot himself, leaving a note and a video accusing Kumar and his family of bribery, extortion, and even sexual harassment of women officers. Clearly, therefore, 2 suicides, less than a week. A Dalit IPS officer, now an ASI. What began as an allegation of caste bias is now spiraling into explosive charges of corruption and even a possible cover-up at the highest levels of the Haryana Police. This could turn out to be an explosive political story. Take a look.
Over a week after Dalit IPS officer Y. Puran Kumar shot himself dead, allegedly over caste-based discrimination, his family on Wednesday agreed to a post-mortem. The last rites were held in the evening. Puran Kumar's wife, IAS officer Amneet P. Kumar, in a statement said she had agreed to the autopsy in view of the assurance given by the Chandigarh UT police that it will conduct an impartial investigation. She also mentioned the commitment conveyed by the Haryana government to take appropriate action against any erring officials. The police had moved the local court on Tuesday for conducting the autopsy as the family refused to hand over the body. Sources close to ADGP Puran Kumar have revealed what happened in the days prior to his alleged suicide. On September 29th, Puran Kumar was transferred from his post as IG Rohtak Range to Sunaria Police Training College. The unexpected order is believed to have upset him. He relinquished charge as IG on September 30th and went on leave for a week. On October 1st, While travelling from Rohtak to Chandigarh in his private car with his personal security officer Sushil Kumar, a Rohtak police team stopped his vehicle. The team detained the PSO without showing any FIR or legal warrant. Before being taken into custody, the PSO left his service revolver in the car, which was allegedly used by Puran Kumar to end his life. The IPS officer called then DGP Shatrujit Kapoor and then Rohtak SP Narendra Bijarnia, but neither of them responded. On October 6th, an FIR was filed against PSO Sushil Kumar based on an extortion complaint filed by a liquor businessman. On October 7th, Puran Kumar's body was found. Assistant Sub-Inspector Sandeep Kumar Lathar, who was part of the team that arrested Puran Kumar's PSO, was found dead on Tuesday. Sandeep Lathar, who allegedly shot himself, also left a note with a similar title to that of Puran Kumar. He also left a video message. Lathar accused Puran Kumar of corruption and called for a probe into the IPS officer's family.
इसने अपने परिवार को सबको बचाने के लिए सुसाइड की है। ये बात नहीं है कि भाई इसके साथ अरे बड़ी बड़ी जांच चल रही है, आदमी की लुगाई भी जेड़ा मंगी तो लुगाई तो ही बुरा था भाई है। इसकी घरवाली को भी डर है कहीं इसकी भी भ्रष्टाचार का भंडा ना फूट जाए। आयोग में बैठ के ने इनके घरवाले ने इसके फादर ने सब ने भ्रष्टाचार किया, इनकी भी जांच होनी चाहिए संपत्ति की भाई।
The two suicides have stoked caste divide in the state. A Dalit Panchayat held in Chandigarh issued a 48-hour ultimatum to the Chandigarh and Haryana governments demanding action against the 16 named in Kumar's suicide note. The Jat community, to which ASI Sandeep Lathar belongs, also held Khap Panchayat to decide their action plan. ASI Lathar's family has not handed over the body for autopsy.
जो भाई ये शहीद होया है ये करप्शन के खिलाफ शहीद होया है। इसकी नीचे से जांच शुरू हो गए, ऊपर तक जाए। इसमें दोषी कोई भी हो, चाहे पूर्ण सिंह हो, चाहे एम बिजानिया साहब हो, चाहे कोई भी हो, दूध का दूध पानी का पानी मर जाना चाहिए।
Meanwhile, Haryana Chief Minister Nayab Singh Saini visited Lathar's home in Jind. Leader of opposition Rahul Gandhi had visited Puran Kumar's family on Tuesday. The death of the two police officers have blown the lid off the systematic rot within Haryana Police Force. With Kamaljeet Sandhu, Bureau Report, India Today.
Twists and turns in the Haryana case. Tonight's Get Real India story comes from Jaisalmer. What was supposed to be a comfortable sleeper coach was in reality a death trap, hastily modified from a non-AC bus just days before the tragic fire that killed 20 lives yesterday, with no emergency exits, no safety inspection, and yes, no government oversight. Behind this horrific incident in Jaisalmer in Rajasthan lies a disturbing story of negligence, untrained bus drivers and managers, and systemic corruption that allowed such a mobile death chamber to roam the roads unchecked. Get Real India.
A luxury bus that suddenly turned into an inferno. Over 20 lives just gone like that. Many injured. Their devastated families are now waiting at the hospital for DNA sampling and answers.
हादसा तो काफी बुरा हुआ है, कैजुअलिटी बहुत ज्यादा हुई है, यही वाली बात है। डीएनए सैंपल अभी उसी के लिए हम लोग मॉर्निंग में इकट्ठे हुए हैं, अभी लिया नहीं है डीएनए।
सुबह 6 बजे से हमारे अभी तक डीएनए नहीं हुआ हमारे घर।
Who really is responsible for this deadly lapse? This was not an accident. It was a mobile death chamber. In Jaisalmer, a non-AC bus had been modified into an AC sleeper coach just 5 days before it caught fire. There was no emergency exit, no second door, and apparently no safety inspection. India Today travelled to Jaipur-Delhi Road, where these so-called luxury buses are being built from scratch. And what we found was shocking. At Vijay Lakshmi Bus Builders, the wiring for ACs, TVs and lighting was being done by a man who had studied only up to 8th grade. No certification, no supervision.
ये राजस्थान का जो आरटीओ है वो ट्रेड सर्टिफिकेट हमारे को देता है गाड़ी बनाने के लिए, ये अप्रूव्ड है इसका। नॉर्म्स के हिसाब से हम बनाते हैं। आरटीओ हमारे को इसकी साइज वगैरह सब बताता है, इतने % पे बनेगी, इतना हैवी ड्यूटी मटेरियल इसमें यूज होगा, वो सब उसी के हिसाब से बनाते हैं।
In various parts of Jaipur, there are several such bus manufacturing units which are into manufacturing of buses. But the main question is that whether these manufacturing units are actually following norms or flouting them. India Today has visited several such manufacturing units where buses were being manufactured. But is there any authority to oversee whether those norms which they are supposed to follow are being followed, whether it's regard to fire extinguishing or whether it's regard to the wiring, the cables?
The RTO is tasked with inspecting every modified vehicle before it hits the road. But in Rajasthan, it seems collusion and corruption have replaced regulation.
एमबीएक्ट में क्या कि जो गाड़ियाँ पासिंग हो रही हैं, आरआई करता पासिंग, वो प्रॉपर रूप से अपना कानून पूरा नहीं कर रही है।
Even after 20 plus deaths, no one from the RTO has visited the site of the tragedy. Buses that are supposed to be luxury rides are being turned into death traps. The question is no longer how this happened, but how often it's being allowed to happen. And unless the system wakes up, Jaisalmer won't be the last time we burn with regret. With Devankur Vadhavan, Bureau Report, India Today.
Okay, from tragedy, let's turn to something more hopeful. Our good news today story, where the Fatehpur District Administration in Uttar Pradesh has rolled out an AI-driven smart vaccination tracking system in the block of Haryana to improve immunization coverage among newborns. The newly developed application enables real-time monitoring of infants' vaccination status. It's our good news story of the day.
Gaon in Fatehpur district is the first block in Uttar Pradesh to use artificial intelligence to monitor child vaccinations. The system tracks children up to 6 years old. Under the AI-powered initiative, parents are sent reminders 3 days before vaccination through WhatsApp and SMS messages.
हमारे जनपद का जो हथगांव एक आकांक्षात्मक ब्लॉक है, उसके लिए हमने एक स्मार्ट वैक्सीनेशन ट्रैकिंग सिस्टम डेवलप किया है। कौन कौन से बच्चे हैं जिनका जन्म हो रहा है और उनके कब कब कौन से टीके लगे हैं, कौन से ड्यू हैं। एआई के माध्यम से हमने जो डेटा एंट्री है वो भी बहुत आसान कर दी है।
Auxiliary nurse midwives or ANMs are provided an app to scan and upload vaccination data. The database helps administration to spot which areas are doing well and which need more attention.
से बच्चों का टीकाकरण सही से नहीं हो पाता है या छूट जाता है, उसके लिए ये एआई बेस्ड एक सॉफ्टवेयर और मोबाइल एप्लीकेशन डिजाइन किया गया है। ये जनपद के लिए, इवन ब्लॉक के लिए बहुत अच्छा सॉफ्टवेयर है।
The initiative is aimed at raising awareness among women about child vaccination. It will be rolled out in all districts of Uttar Pradesh soon. With Nitesh Srivastav, Bureau Report, India Today.
That good news story is where we say goodbye to you. Thanks for watching. Stay well, stay safe. Good night. Shubhratri. Jai Hind. Namaskar.